Okay, confidence. Now you've put it out there, you've told people in your office, you're doing a marathon, you're doing a 5K, you're doing your first 10K, you've told your family, you've told your friend, you've told your boyfriend, you've told your girlfriend, you've put it out there. And therefore, over the training weeks, you're living it, you're breathing it, you're running it. But when it comes to race day, there's an anxiety there with a lot of runners because they've got to back up what they've said. They've got to back up what they've been talking about, that they're now a runner. And the usual question if you tell your office, oh, I'm doing a marathon. Okay, well, are you going to win? That it's that kind of mentality. So you've got to remember that you're working with people in the office that have no idea about running, and they have not found running, or they've not found a physical activity, and some people will know, and some people, and you'll naturally, and that's why running is such a powerful thing, because you'll naturally get in with great circles of people that that are all about self-development, that are all about improving themselves, that are willing to sacrifice the immediate return for long-term or delayed gratification. These are powerful tools to insert in your life. But the way I flip it in terms of confidence is you've got to think about it like this, and please think about it like this, because once it flips, it just gives you so much freedom to perform on race day. The difficulty of training for a distance, whether it's 5K, 10K, half marathon, marathon, ultra marathon, the difficulty is all in the training. The training is what should make you nervous, and especially if anything's going to make you nervous, it's got to be the key sessions, the interval sessions and the long run. Because if you can nail those, and your strategy, your planning and your training schedule is on track, then the race is just a party. You've got to look at the race as a celebration for all the hard work that you've put in. So a typical training regime is going to look like you get fit. Yeah, you get fit and you prepare yourself ready to spend 10 weeks dedicated training towards whatever your race goal is. And in those 10 weeks, you're going to do 10 interval sessions, 10 long runs. And if you get 80% of those right, that's 16 sessions of the 20, 10 long runs, 10 interval sessions. And then you've got 10 to 14 days taper, where you're freshening up the legs, so reducing the intensity, keeping the intensity the same, reducing the volume. So your legs will freshen up, your legs will feel zippy and fresh, ready to go as fast as you possibly can on race day. But once you've got to that start line, without injury, without illness, that's the party, that's the celebration. So you need to think, you need to kind of rewire your brain. I know it's anxious, you're walking towards the start line, maybe it's London Marathon or Berlin Marathon, there's 40,000, 50,000 runners there, and I felt it, the anxiety you can cope with, and that everybody is so nervous. What about if I fail? What about if I don't do the time? What about if I don't hit my splits? What about if I don't get my drink? Forget all that. You're in a party. So you've got to flip that switch and think, I've done all the hard work, all that's done, the planning, preparation, the drinks. There's no control what you can control. Everything I'm going to do today is the party. I'm going to have fun out there. And if you can flip that switch, all of a sudden you're stood on the start line amongst this anxiety, it's like an anxiety blanket of people like, what if, and you are like, let's go, I cannot wait. And that's the energy you want to bring to race day, because you're going to get that adrenaline. That adrenaline is going to help you, and it will give you 10% on race day. That adrenaline you actually need to harness. You need to have the discipline to control and not go off too fast. But you've got that adrenaline, you've got that excitement, you've got the freshness in your legs, and you've got the unknown whether you're going to achieve it or not. And then what I'd say to you, on top of that, on top of thinking that the training is the hard part and the race is the celebration, the race is the party, on top of that, you cannot fail. If you're trying to achieve something, you cannot fail until you quit. And I know we hear that a lot, but what I mean in running, if you're gonna run a half marathon, or if you're gonna run a marathon or a 10K or a 5K, whatever, if it's a 5K, if you can go off and you're going for, let's say, a 25-minute 5K, if you do the first 3K in 15 minutes and then the wheels fall off and you can hardly finish the 4th kilometer, you get to the finish, but it's taking you 30 minutes, you've not failed the 5K. You've succeeded for 3K, and then you've held it together in terms of you survived until the finish line, but you know that you've learned the hard way, and that's the best way to learn. It's not the smartest way to learn, but you will not forget that mistake of you going out and not doing the long runs, not inserting the endurance, the stamina from the long run, together with the speed endurance from the intervals, and you know what you need to do in order to correct that. You've succeeded for 3K, you've not failed for 5K. So important. And then if you're doing a half marathon, it's exactly the same. Maybe you keep it together to 14 or 15K, and the wheels fall off, and your pacing goes off in the final 5-6K. You've not failed the half marathon. You've succeeded for 15K, and you know what you need to do. You know what you need to do in terms of fitness, endurance, speed endurance, stamina, in order to make that half marathon happen. Exactly the same with a marathon. Most people, and it's so crazy because I've spent a lot of my life in Thailand and a lot in Spain, and then obviously I'm from the UK, and I used to work in miles, now I work in kilometers. Round numbers will mess you up in the marathon. So once it gets to the 20-mile mark in London Marathon, people's wheels will start to fall off. They'll start to, oh, it's hard and it's tough and it's, all of a sudden the cramping, etc. It's psychological. Of course, everything's psychological. Your body is controlled by your mind. In Spain, it's the 30K mark. So it's before the 20-mile mark in Spain. When I'm running a marathon in Spain, at 30K, people's wheels start to fall off. People's legs start to cramp up because they've hit that round number. Got 12K to go, and it just seems too much. Whereas in the marathon, you get to 20 miles in that last 6 miles. So a lot of people, that's where you need to dig in. And that's the point. Again, it's the third superpower I can give you. Realize throughout the training and on the race start line that today is gonna be a party. And at some point in this party, it's gonna get tough. And I'm gonna coast for the first third half. I'm gonna just run as if you've got the handbrake on. And then I'm gonna dig in and focus, because the next, if you're running a marathon, that 21K to 30K mark, you're gonna dig in because it's kind of no man's land, and you know that you need to focus in order to keep the pace, in order to hit the PB that you wanna hit. And then the last 10K, that last quarter, that last 6 miles, that's when you need to really bring it out of yourself, and you need to ask yourself the question, who am I and what do I want? Because if you can ask yourself at that point, who am I and what do I really want, you'll hold it together. And then it comes back to your form and your style. Am I landing correctly? Are my feet underneath myself? Are my arms driving? Let's pick up my style. Come on now. And it's kind of a battle. It's an internal conversation with yourself, which if you can pluck out that internal conversation and have it on the go, when you're starting to suffer, man, it's a superpower. You got those 3 things. Good luck.